Throughout its history, the Republic was a galactic powerhouse with strong political influences, diplomatic ties, and, at least some of the time, military presence. There were thousands of cogs that, when working together, made the engines of the Republic government move. However, much like in any government today, several of those cogs didn't really do anything. Traditionally, the Senate Guard was one of them. An organization that was supposed to protect the heart of democracy was more often than not useless when a crisis actually happened. It was a privileged rank that usually went to privileged people, and as such, the Guardsmen of the Galactic Senate tended to be nepo hires and inept leeches on Republic payroll. But not all of them were like this. In today's video, we'll be talking about Sagoro Autem, a Senate Guard and Republic officer that exemplified everything good about the Republic. A man so dedicated to the cause that he was targeted almost immediately after the Empire took over.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
Born into a family with a long tradition of serving in the Senate Guard, it didn't take Sagoro long until he followed in his brother and father's footsteps. He graduated from the Senate Guard Academy with honors and quickly rose through the ranks. He was even offered a promotion to commander fairly early into his career, but he declined, preferring active duty, working as an investigator alongside his partner Sagoro Autem, to a cushy desk job. During his service, he had a reputation for being dedicated, efficient, and talented, with an honest nature which makes you wonder what the heck he was doing working for the government. As luck would have it, his integrity was tested early on in his career when he had to investigate a case of corruption involving his brother Venco. Shortly before 22 BBY, there was a murder. Senator Jeremiah Greyshade of the Commonality was found dead, and the dynamic duo were assigned to the murder case. The motive for the murder was clear. Greyshade was a key player in pushing forward the Financial Reform Act, due to be deliberated upon soon, an act that aimed to reduce corruption in the Republic. Despite his initial reservations at handling such a politically charged case, Sagoro reported to the office of Chancellor Palpatine himself. It was decided that Sagoro and Isaru would investigate the assassination, while Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker guarded Simon Greyshade, the senator's cousin and replacement. As a side note here, Sagoro was upset at this arrangement. Guarding senators was literally his job description, and he didn't particularly like the Jedi and their mystical ways. However, Palpatine emphasized the need for the case to be resolved, as it might affect the emerging separatist crisis, and Sagoro did what every good soldier does. He followed orders. Sagoro's investigation was interrupted when he was notified by his wife that his son, Raymet, was going off to fly in the pit races on a day Sagoro knew a judicial raid was planned. Despite his warnings, his son and daughter, as well as his son's girlfriend, went to the races and got themselves arrested, forcing Sagoro to step in and pull rank to take his children under his custody, leaving the bad influence of a girlfriend in jail. The proverbial tongue lashing was cut short, however, when Sagoro's brother arrived. His brother, now, was nothing like Sagoro. Venco Autem, despite having been a Senate Guard himself, had run afoul of the law and been sentenced to jail. As a result, Sagoro's displeasure at seeing him again is somewhat understandable, but that displeasure was curbed when his brother revealed he was dying. Sagoro's initial sympathy didn't last, however, and the guardsman was convinced his con of a brother was making his illness up play some long, complicated con game. When Isaru called him to let him know that they had a lead, he kicked his brother out the way on his way back to work, which displeased both his son and wife. Sagoro followed Isaru's directions to Simon Greyshade's apartment in the 500 Republica building, the most exclusive residential tower in the ambassadorial district. While in his apartment, 2 modified droids had attempted to assassinate the senator, only to meet their end at the blades of his Jedi guards. Upon closer inspection, Skywalker found a strange transceiver inside the protocol droid and surrendered it to the Senate guards, who sent it for analysis. Scans also revealed the droid had been shut down an hour before the attack, which suggested Greyshade had been meeting with a shady character. Analysis of the transceiver itself, meanwhile, revealed a link to Princess Xian, a Senate lobbyist from the planet of Old Manku. The princess had a cybernetic link that would allow her to interface with droids. As a bonus, her travel history revealed she had visited many planets concurrent to several unsolved assassinations, and to make matters worse, she was currently at a party celebrating Simon Greyshade's new position. Sagoro and Isaru tried to warn Greyshade's Jedi guards while making their way there, but they didn't get the word out before an attack happened. Sagoro stunned Xian while the Jedi dealt with several attack droids. With the assassin taken into custody, they escorted Greyshade back to his apartment, but were attacked along the way by another assassin, the Dug known as Kaluda, whom Kenobi also captured. This time, however, with a conscious assailant, Kenobi was able to get the name of their employer out of him. Their employer was none other than Venco Autem. Sagoro's brother, it turns out, had expertly manipulated his family. First, he bribed a prison guard to release his nephew's girlfriend, who had been taken to jail after the judicial raid on the pits. This impressed his nephew, who gave his cool uncle his father's Senate Guard access codes, since his own had been deactivated after he got himself kicked out of the academy. With the big reveal that his own brother was behind the assassinations, Sagoro was promptly taken off the case, as he should have been. However, it was very difficult for him to sit still and do nothing while his brother caused such trouble. Sagoro believed himself to be the best suited to take his brother down, as Venco had been one of the Senate Guard's best before corruption took him. But things weren't smooth sailing. Back home, Sagoro found his son preparing to leave for his girlfriend's homeworld, a trip Venco had organized. This was when Sagoro found out his son had given his brother his access codes, which he immediately passed on to Isaru. His partner, however, was busy dealing with an escape attempt by Xian, which Venco had also assisted with. The princess assassin had interfaced with and taken over several droids, causing a ruckus that would hopefully create a diversion. But Sagoro wasn't fooled. Knowing time was running out, he rushed to the Senate building's grand convocation chamber, where he arrived just in time to find his brother, disguised as Greyshade's personal guard, detaching the senator's repulsor pod and moving toward the center of the chamber. Sagoro demanded his brother surrender, but Venco reminded him he was dying and frankly didn't care anymore. In prison, he had come to know the Republic for what it was, a corrupt, sickened creature that needed to be put down, and he was willing to use up the last of his life to see it done. Faced with no choice, Sagoro pulled the trigger and his brother died. In the aftermath of the Greyshade case, as it came to be known, Sagoro initially lied to protect his son from further consequences, claiming he had no idea how Venco had gotten his codes. His wife called him to let him know their son was leaving Coruscant with his girlfriend, and that she was also separating from him, taking their daughter and leaving. His entire family went no contact with him, which shattered his heart. His faith in the Republic had already been shattered by Venco's accusations of corruption, and his family turning their backs on him made him snap. Sagoro's priorities changed. As the dust of his former life settled, he and his partner went to arrest his son, who was charged with accessory to murder. Even after everything, however, Sagoro couldn't go through with it. Isaru offered to do it himself so he wouldn't have to, but Sagoro pulled a blaster on his partner and held him at blaster point until his son was able to escape. With him safely off-world, Sagoro lowered his weapon and allowed himself to be taken into custody. Following his trial, Sagoro was expelled from the Senate Guard, though he left with the respect of many of his colleagues still intact. Later in life, he used his skills to work as a mercenary while looking for his family. By the time the Clone Wars broke out in 22 BBY, he was a convict of the Republic on Brental 4. Within a year, however, he had helped the Republic during the Battle of Brental 4. The prison Autem had been sent to ended up becoming a major strategic location in the battle, and Sagoro played a vital role in helping Shaak Ti crush the Separatist insurrection on the planet. This earned Autem his freedom, and he returned to Republic service under Jan Dodona. During the Clone Wars, he assisted in many key battles, such as the Battle of Seleucami. Only a few months after the siege of Seleucami had ended, however, the declaration of a new order saw his employer change from the Republic Navy to the Imperial Navy. Along with many other commanders, he was summoned to Coruscant, where they were informed of the Jedi's treason. Autem was retroactively made the hero of Seleucami now that the Jedi were labeled as traitors and nothing more, and all officers were told they would be evaluated for their command posts, and that no resignations were tolerated. When one officer questioned Palpatine, Darth Vader executed him on the Emperor's command, which greatly disturbed Sagoro. Later that day, Sagoro was visited by his former partner Isaru, whom he still greatly resented. However, Isaru had come with news. Sagoro was on the Empire's list to be purged. Taking his old partner's warning, Sagoro was barely able to escape Coruscant, but was helped, surprisingly, by his son. His plan, once he was able to leave the planet, was to head for the Outer Rim with his son to meet up with his wife and daughter, who had never truly stopped loving him. In the end, Sagoro Autem went from respected Senate guard to Republic convict to the hero of Seleucami, and finally to an escaped Imperial target. In the process, however, he kept his honor and the love and respect of those he cared for the most. At the end of the day, he was a man with a complicated history made more complicated by his family's criminal activities, but he remained a good man, and we're glad to see he got a happy ending. But what do you think? Do you think we're giving him too much credit even after he did everything he could to let his son go? What would you have done in his position? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below, and as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.